Okay, thank you, Professor Mangla. Thanks very much to the organizers for inviting me to speak today at this very important event that I hope is part of launching a movement in India. So as I was introduced, my name is Ari Katz, and I work at an organization called IREX, which is an American nonprofit international development group. And I work on a project called Beyond Access, which helps countries modernize their public library systems. And I've been working on libraries for about 10 years, and now I work primarily in Asia on public library modernization in Myanmar and in Bangladesh and in the Philippines. So I want to tell you a little bit about what we've learned in this process and some of the trends that we've come across in public libraries, and I hope that these can be helpful in informing some of the discussion in India. And I know that a lot of previous speakers today have been talking about some of these same themes, but I hope that I can help spark some ideas. So I guess it's worth starting off with, there seems to be a lot of consensus in the room today that libraries are important in the 21st century, that technology is important in libraries, and that we need to make sure that public libraries are modernized. And I think what that all sort of coalesces around is this idea of relevance. And in our experience, that's kind of the single most important guiding concept for public library modernization. So relevance means different things in different places, but what we found it always means is alignment with national and local priorities. And it means that the public library system needs to be able to prove that it has results, that the results of investment in public libraries are driving development in the country. So let me just go through this. I guess that means we all sort of agree that this is an outdated view of the library, and yet this is often in my work what I come across, and I would imagine in India as well. This is a common image. Of course, libraries in the past were always about access to information, but that information was in books, and so libraries were a pooled community resource to give people access to information in a form that they couldn't afford or couldn't be expected to afford otherwise. And that's still the need for libraries, but of course information is in different forms now, and so libraries need to be able to provide access to the information in those forms and need to be able to help people use that information. Information now is abundant, but that makes it very difficult to navigate and find what it is you need to improve your life. And so libraries, if they are to remain relevant, must be able to fulfill that role. So that means libraries can no longer be a storehouse of books, of course. It means that they have to meet community needs. What the community needs, that's what the library provides. And so this is one of my favorite images from a project that I work on in the Philippines, and that is actually a haircutting class that's taking place at a library in a small town in the south of Philippines. And that's because the government agency that was running that class needed a place to offer that service to the unemployed women who are benefiting from it. So what better place than the library to do that? And because that library has demonstrated its relevance, it's more important to its community. So why libraries? The main reason is because there's so many of them. So Beyond Access counted, and we found that there's about 320,000 public libraries in the world, and that's more than any other sort of public institution. It's more than 10 times the number of hospitals in the world. And we know that in an information society, people can only succeed when they know how to use information and apply it to their lives. So what better institution to do that than public libraries? And I think here we have number 45,000 for India. I'm not sure if that's still accurate, but that's still quite a big number to work with. So I mentioned I want to share just a few trends with you that we're witnessing. There's three main trends in modern libraries. First is a library for everyone, and that means that the library services must be relevant to everyone in the community. In the past, and even today, I often hear librarians talk about how their visitors, their clients are students and researchers. And certainly there's a place for students and researchers, but that can't be the only audience that libraries serve anymore. Libraries have to be relevant for everyone. And for everyone, that also means the people who can't read. And here's a great example of a library hosting an event for parents and infants to read together. We know that's important, and so what better place than the library to offer that service? But of course, infants aren't the only ones who can't read. There's also the illiterate, and libraries need to be able to figure out how to offer services to the illiterate as well if they are to remain relevant in the 21st century. Also not in the category of students or researchers, these unemployed women in the Philippines. This is a library we work with that offers computer training to them. And I think this is an example from one of my colleagues' network libraries. Farmers require services related to information as well, like information from a veterinarian. So, if people have questions that they need to ask of an experienced professional, what better place than the library to offer that service? So, if libraries are to remain relevant, they have to provide services to everyone. The second trend, and I think this has been talked about a lot today, is that libraries must be technology hubs in a digital world. So we always hear about the rates of mobile penetration, and a lot of people have mobile phones, and that's only going to grow. But not everybody knows how to apply even the possibilities on their mobile phones to their lives. So libraries must be the place where that service can be delivered. Here's an example from another project that we work on in Ukraine, where the government offers e-government services through the libraries. And libraries have actually been recognized in formal government policy as the place where people can learn about and use e-government services. An example from Zambia, where the library connects parents and children together to record local language folk tales and stories. Another way that the library is using technology to offer services even to the illiterate. So even if the mother there doesn't read, she's able to relate, to narrate a story, and it can be recorded by the child using the computer. In Bhutan, we see computer lessons taking place in the library. Again, what better place than the library to be the first place that you experience technology, to be the place where you get guidance and helpful assistance in using technology for the first time. And the last trend that I want to talk about is that libraries are welcoming. And again, we've heard a lot about that today, but when I visit libraries, I often see kind of that very stereotypical image, and I'm sure you do too, of the locked bookcases and the very rectangular tables and chairs, and that's not the only way that libraries can be, and that's not even a relevant way in the 21st century. Libraries, as a community space, who are they competing with? They're competing with the coffee shop, they're competing with the shopping mall. That's where people spend their time now when they have a choice, when it's outside of work or home. So libraries have to be able to offer a space that's just as welcoming, just as inviting, just as friendly as those places. So that means being creative with seating arrangements, whether that means furniture or no furniture at all, creating a place where you want to stay and spend time. That means displaying books in a way that enables discovery and not spying out so that everything is hidden. That means comfortable furniture, and that just means being creative with the space so that it's used in many different ways. And if people want coffee, then you offer coffee at the library. Here's a library in the Philippines that opened a cafe in the library. That makes people feel comfortable, that makes people feel welcome, so why not offer drinks and snacks right in the library? Don't make them leave. And then last, the library is not confined to its own space. Libraries have to go where the people are, and they're learning to do that in many different ways. Here's a library in Peru that's offering games and books right out on the street in a public park near the library, because that's where you're going to catch people who are walking by. And if people can't come to the library, then the library needs to go to them. And if that means using a bicycle, then we use a bicycle. Obviously running out of time here, but I was asked to just talk about the policy angle a bit, and I just want to share a few examples of how libraries are being integrated into national policy in ways that help them become relevant. And we're working in the Philippines, and libraries are there part of a national program that provides free Wi-Fi to public institutions, recognizing that libraries are a community common space where people can go and access the internet and get digital literacy training. And so libraries are benefiting from a $30 million investment in free public Wi-Fi. In Georgia, we see government services being offered straight in the library building. That's a great way to combine services and save people time. In Romania, we've seen farmers use the library to apply for in an online application for funding from the government, and over the 3 years we've been working on this project, libraries have helped farmers retrieve more than $200 million in subsidies using the library services. So my last slide, and one of my favorite pictures is right here. I think everyone recognizes that old sign that represented the library of the last generation, but a modern library sign that is relevant is this. It's offering services that are relevant to everyone in the community and different kinds of services. All right, so thank you very much.